I'm gonna send you a co-host invite, NPM Labs. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Gonna get my little document ready. Gonna get my little document ready. Gonna get my little document ready. It's got all the questions and all the things I need to have a successful space. Gonna get my little document ready. We're just waiting for some people to show up. And we don't know. And we know that they don't know what is up. 'Cause I'm gonna get my document ready. I got my little document ready. Gonna get my little document ready. I already got it up, and I've been staring at it up. Got my little document ready. It's got a bunch of questions to ask people about real estate. 'Cause I don't know. I don't think I know anything about real estate. We're learning about real estate today. We're taking it all through the day. Got so many conflicts in the battle. And here we go, gonna play a song to intro us. Da da da. Long distance runner, what you standing there for? Get up, get up, get out of the door. You're playing cold music on the barroom floor. Travis, accept my invite to speak on the stage. Travis. Fire on the mountain. Here we go. Another Forge Spaces in the books. Starting this one off with a little bit of Grateful Dead. God, I love Grateful Dead. Fire on the Mountain. We have some new speakers here today, so I'm going to not go into my usual jibber jabber so that they're not weirded out by me, but my name is Crypto Matt K. I'm here co-hosting with the NPM Labs guys, and our founder Doc is here with us today to add his insights into our spaces. We have a spaces we're covering Real Estate 101 today. Super dope stuff. If you don't know anything about houses, guess what? You're in for a treat. I'm going to join with my personal account here. I'm going to keep it in the crowd today because I don't have a blue check mark, and I don't know if that means that the space will get throttled if I speak. So what I'm going to do before we get started, everyone that's in the space, please comment GM in the comments. Little purple bubble on the bottom right-hand corner, a simple GM, a clang gang, a gang, a yo, I like houses, bro. You know, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do that in the comments for me, and as well as retweeting the space. It's going to help get us some traction in here. I'm going to type in glang kang because I'm feeling a little on the edge today here, but Glenn Kang, and I'm retweeting the space with the Forge account. I hope the speakers as well as the people in the audience do the same. Let's get that retweets going so we can get more folks in here. I see we got 30-ish people. There's no reason we should have 30 retweets. We're at 15. We're slowly and steadily making our way to 30. Now, speakers, I will make my rounds here. We have some new folks that have never spoken on spaces before, so I am honored and privileged to be your first host. And as weird as I am, you're also going to feel pretty good about being here once we kind of like break in and settle in a little bit. So I guess some rules. Let me just set the table here a little bit. So if you guys want to talk at any point, at first we'll go around and do intros, right? I'll stop by and each one of you guys, ask you a quick intro. I know I sent all of you a kind of rubric, a template of questions that, you know, you can expect to be asked throughout the space. That's, you know, let the juices flow there if you want. We can use it as a rubric, fall back on it if it gets dry, but I tend to like to let the speakers just kind of jump in, bounce ideas off of each other. We have a little bit more of a panel situation going on here today. So if you guys want to speak at any point, just raise your hand like this. For the new guys, so there's a heart button on the bottom middle of the screen. You can press that, and then there's the little hand raise emoji. If you really got a hot topic, hot take you want to say, just press that button and give me a little wave, and we'll kick it over to you. But the way we kind of want to structure this is we'll go around. You guys will introduce yourselves. A lot of different backgrounds here, a lot of different expertise here, and I'm excited to dig in with all of you. So, with that being said, let's dig in, shall we? We got about an hour to clang around and find out, so let's get to it. Before I jump in, I want to, again, introduce myself, Crypto Matt K. Maybe share a little bit of a joke. You know, it's a bit, but it's also true. It's also a fun announcement that I'm excited to share. So I personally, a few days ago, great, Doc left us. I guess I'm doing a great job. Cool. So I was reached out by Mario Nawal a few weeks ago. Classic Doc shooting the request to speak. Here we go. A few weeks ago, I was being my old degenerate self and joining all of the engagement channels that I can and group chats that I can, and it was cool. Next thing I know, I'm in 20 different group chats with 20 different NFT communities, and a lot of them are just posting the same trash, trying to promote each other's stuff, right? So I let my DMs fill naturally, like the degenerate I am, and things got missed, and over time, people that were actually trying to message me got missed, and I never got back to them. So what ended up happening is Mario Narwhal. How do you pronounce that dude's name? The dude, Mario. Everyone knows him. We all know who he is. He's got like 2 million followers. Now fall. We'll see what he says his name is. But anyway, I got a DM from him. Missed it, and then I missed the opportunity to speak on one of the biggest spaces on X, Twitter, crypto, and yeah. So I found out about that. Took a shower and proceeded to just turn it on max cold and just kind of sat there for like 30 minutes and just let the water run over me. So how did I fix it? I went and deleted all of my extra chats that I thought were unnecessary, only to realize later that when I'm actually trying to shill something, those are pretty good. But lo and behold, a few weeks go by. I sent Mario a message pleading for sympathy for my mistaken fading him. They gave me a thumbs up, and a few more weeks go by, and I got a DM from him today. So tomorrow I'll be on Mario's Spaces at 12 p.m. EST. I'm super excited to announce this to everyone. You heard it here first. Matt K is speaking on Mario's Space tomorrow after having a complete guttural reaction and getting the shakes and sweating out of my armpits for missing what could have been the most opportune moment of my career, has now returned and offered me the grace of speaking on stage there again. So I think Joey was there. I know that our friend William Isle was there. I'll be seeing him again there tomorrow. So I'm excited about it. I think Joey was there. You guys can all talk about it as we make our rounds here. But enough about me. I'm just the mere host here. Let's talk about our guests. Let me go around. I'm going to start with DD King, and then I'll kick it over to Joey. Let's pause on each one of you guys and just give a quick, brief intro about yourselves, what you're doing, and like what your background is in real estate. Like, we're here to talk about real estate. There's Web2 folks in here, and there's Web3 folks in here, and we need to sit at this table, call it a round table, and just like get to know one another. So, DD King, Joey, then let's go to MPM Labs. I want to hear from you two co-hosts. You guys are the best. What's going on, DD King?
Thanks for having me, Matt. Yeah, I've got two other speakers in the crowd here that I want you to call up on stage, and that's James Harkins and Eddie Bailey. Eddie is my brother, and James is his partner. My background is specifically, and it's been all over the place, really. But I'd say I'm more in tune with the residential real estate investment market. And Eddie and James, I'll let them speak for themselves, but they have a deep understanding of the commercial background and also in development. They one of their tenants they develop for Starbucks, and so that says enough about who they are and their level of professionalism. I don't know if Eddie and James, if y'all see an option on your phone to accept being a speaker when Matt invites you, just click yes.
Yeah, so Eddie Bailey and James, if you guys are on mobile or even maybe on desktop, but you should be able to see me sending you an invite to speak. I'm trying again. Eddie and James, right?
Yep,
Harkins.
that's right. Yep, that's right. And so yeah, I'm just I'm out running a couple errands right now, and excited for this spaces and to hear about the other speakers that you've got on, and hopefully myself or Eddie and James can answer most all questions that you've got.
Hell yeah, love to see it. So I see James got up here. We'll wait for Eddie, but we'll just keep going around the circle. James and Eddie made it up. Yes. Why don't you guys just say what's up? Cause y'all are with Didi, and then we can keep it moving.
What's up? We are on.
Hey guys, what's going on? Glad we could join.
Sweet. Yeah. So first time Space Guy is here too. So I'm super pumped to have you guys. Honored to be your first Spaces host. Super cool. I don't. It's like wild that this is happening at this point. But um, let's kick it over to who did I say next? Joey. What's going on, my guy? I think this is the first time we're actually like on a space, and I'm like directly talking to you. I've heard you a lot. Huge fan of what you're doing with the colony and what you've built for that dude out of Vegas. Fuck, the Tykes. There it is. That was like the first thing that got me hooked onto what you're doing and where you're from and all that. So, what's going on, my guy?
What's up? Yeah, so my name's Joey Vowels. I am the Chief Brand Officer at the Colony. We are a RWA platform. We tokenize assets and put them on chain. Right now, our focus is small collectibles like comic books, video games, trading cards, etc. I am still part of Tykes. We have since transitioned that project more into a Web2 thing. But it is originally was designed as a Web3 real estate project. And then in my everyday life, I also work for Ryan Pineda as one of his coaches. I personally wholesale, do fix and flips, um, Airbnb, and a little bit of knowledge on creative financing. But have to give him all the credit. He's kind of taught me everything I know right now about real estate. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I also coach CrossFit. I do all kinds of fun shit.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay, didn't know that. Pumped to hear about you're still integrated with Ryan Panetta. That's like such a mind blow, like mind fuck. Because I followed his. By the way, anyone in the crowd, if you guys don't know Ryan Panetta and you want to like find out about social media marketing or real estate investing, this guy is a fucking fanatic when it comes to pushing proper content on YouTube, Shorts, Instagram, Reels. Incredible stuff. So, Joey, pleasure to have you. I'll kick it over to
It's
MPM. Yeah, what's up?
I was going to say it's funny because he made, his success was in real estate investing, but about 3 or 4 years ago he pivoted to like creating content, and now he's almost as known or more known for his content creation and his quote unquote influencer status, right, on like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, more so than his success in real estate, which is what's really funny.
100%. And dude, like, so really quick, like, well, and then we'll move on. But I followed him from like the beginning, right? And he was pushing all this real estate content. It was incredible. And then he was talking about how his wife was trying to get him to start pushing content on social media, like really lean into it. And then he started optimizing it, where he would literally spend like 4 hours one day a month and shoot content for the entire month, and then his team would take care of the rest of it. So it was just like really eye-opening to see someone's process and how they're optimizing the creating component of all of this, because you think like, oh, you're sitting down every day and getting into that flow, but the reality is like he has a very regimented practice that he follows that got him to where he is. It's not just kind of like when you start off, you think like, okay, yeah, I'll just sit here every day and draft up some content and that'll be it. But when you optimize in the way he has, it's really cool to see. Let me kick it over to NPM Labs. What's going on? I don't know who is behind the account today, but just want to check in with you, say what's up.
Yeah, it's Max behind the account. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining that space.
You see my personal profile down there as the Dark Wizard with the 101 of the Forge. Short introduction, MPM Labs is a growth partner of the Forge since day one, doing those early sparring partner sessions with Doc to bring this whole project to life together, building this amazing community. We are here on the second format, actually, of this really cool Spaces format, which we are hosting and which we will keep on co-hosting together with the Forge. It is all about education around the most relevant topics, which we do personally care a lot about. RWA tokenization, bridging from IRL Web 2 to Web 3, and also real estate, of course. And I'm here today as a learner because I'm for sure not the most knowledgeable guy when it comes to real estate inside this panel. And I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to add and excited. We have amazing attendance on these spaces. It's already growing, like from the last one to today, and it will keep on growing. Matt is doing an awesome job, and thank you so much, guys, for joining. I'm excited for this panel today.
Yeah, super dope. It's kind of crazy, actually. Like, as I'm throwing likes out right now while you're talking, there's like 20 people just joined. So I'm just like, what is happening? But moving on. So great to hear from you, Max. Thanks for being here. Dominic, I'll kick it over to you. So Dom and I got acquainted in the DMs, and Dominic is actually kind of like, so he got, so you got tagged when I made a post on my personal account looking for spaces, subject matter experts in real estate. This was like a few weeks ago. And I see you, Doctor, tagged you. So for anyone that doesn't know in the crowd, there's a NFT community called Rough Riders, and the founder of that project, supports us, huge fan of ours, and tagged Dominic. And so Dominic is, I believe you guys are friends. Anyway, I'll shut up. Why don't you give yourself a introduction and tell us what you're all about, man?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic. I am currently living in Arizona, but I was born and raised in Illinois. Moved out to Arizona about 2021. I grew up in the grocery retailer space where I worked my way up to CFO of the grocery chain that I worked for about 23 years, as well as the sister company, which owned and managed commercial real estate portfolio, which was about 20 properties, including large shopping centers, which the grocery chain was the anchor of. We had about 120 retail tenants in those various shopping centers. I've also held my own portfolio of real estate since 2006 and have been ramping that up in the last 3 years since I moved to Arizona, mainly consisting of multifamily real estate. I do own a couple single family homes, but mainly focused in multifamily.
Okay, sick. So multifamily, recap for anyone that just joined. So DD King does residential, specializes in residential. Joey, I actually forgot what Joey does, but he runs the colony. Just going to leave it at that. Dominic, you focus on commercial. I'll kick it over to Real Talk next, and then we'll have Travis wrap up for us. Real Talk, what's up?
Yo, super grateful to be here. I appreciate the invite. It's crazy being a part of this after being a guest on a couple of your other spaces. So grateful for the opportunity. I've been in real estate for about a decade. I basically specialize in distressed properties, whether it be foreclosures, tax liens, things of that nature, and do mostly residential flips. So, I have a pretty in-depth knowledge about, short-term and long-term rentals, but definitely my area of expertise is in doing kind of renovations and fix and flips. But yeah, I'm excited to, kick over some knowledge to people and learn some stuff for myself today.
Hell yeah. Happy to have you here, Real Talk. So background about Real Talk, old business partner. We used to work together in Denver, Colorado. We did like 11 fix and flips in the year of 2016, 17. I don't remember, but it was a crazy year. Really, profitable, let's call it, but fun. Also, a lot of learning mistakes and lessons in that year. And it was my first experience working in real estate, and really opened up my eyes to just kind of like all the different avenues that you can do here. Also, give all these speakers a follow. Everyone that's in the crowd. Real Talk, I'm going to mention you in this moment because I'm on you, but Real Talk makes savage takes and just base as fuck poster. So if you want savage takes, and literally Real Talk is the premise behind that account, give him a follow, and you'll be happy to consume some of that content. So kicking it over to Travis. So Travis and I had a really good talk one-on-one. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Really, really nice guy, looking to network, just getting his feet wet in Web3, and is looking to, break out into the space. So Travis, I know you got your own piece about your real estate background, and then let us know how you're doing today, man. Can you guys hear him?
No,
Okay. Travis, I'm gonna kick you down, unless if you have like maybe your headphones are muted or anything like that. But I'll kick you down and bring you back up, and hopefully that'll reset the connection. So we have Eddie. So from a he left. So I want everyone here to understand that from like a very broad perspective, there are many avenues in real estate that you can approach and tackle. Real Talk was talking about distressed properties. Dominic has commercial. Joey, DD King, residential. And Travis just left, but Travis is also specializing in I think it was big box stores, if I remember correctly. Hopefully Travis can speak now, but he has a commercial background as well out in I think it was Chicago or Indiana. Travis, you want to try speaking today or now rather?
Yeah, I got to correct you on all those things, but hopefully you can hear.
All right, dude, do it up, man.
No, but it's great hanging out with you guys today, and yeah, it was great connecting with you, Matt, personally on these things about a week ago. So yeah, my background's mostly in residential. I've owned Remax franchise with my wife. I've built houses, own a title agency, all through the distressed market in Florida. So we spent several years working on distressed properties as well as developments. So quite a bit of that obviously was a stressful time, but it was some of the best times, as we all know, on the stage is when times are tough. So the distress market was a great time to learn. We were buying properties before the distress market, but that was definitely where I'd say the chops were kind of the rubber met the road for me as a real estate guy. And I would say overall, I have definitely worked in commercial. That's kind of been where I've moved, and mostly I would say it's people don't think about this as commercial as much, but it's more on the hospitality side. But moving into the RV campground niche, so that's where I've been spending my time lately in the Web3 space. So really focusing around tokenizing campgrounds and tokenizing RVs themselves. So, so that's just been a passion of ours as a family, and I've enjoyed camping over the years. So that's just something from the Web3 side. I've been really hard into the RWAs, and tying in that real estate background into this has been a lot of fun. So that's a quick cap on it.
Thank you. And as soon as you said the RV thing, I was like, oh yeah, shit. That was it. But look, I want to set the intention here for this call, for the space. I'm gonna start asking questions and assume I know nothing. Like I know there's some like stuff that I did in 2016, but like literally I don't know shit. And like teach me like I'm 5. I also want to encourage you guys to get in a conversation with each other. Not only are we here to like, educate everyone that's in the audience, but we're also here to network with one another. So speakers, people, if you have questions in the audience as well, for all of our new joiners, by the way, feel free to give us a GM, give us a Clang Gang in the comments, retweet the space. We would love to see the engagement there. But specifically, if you guys have any questions about real estate, now's the time to ask it. I'll do another follow-up about that in about 15, 20 minutes. But we want to serve you as much as we can here and answer your questions as best as we can. So remember, guys, like, hand if you want to make a point. If you've really got something hot to say, you can wave at me and I'll kick it over to you. So let's just start with like houses. Let's talk about there's two avenues that I know in real estate. There's residential and there's commercial. Let's start with residential. Like, how can I, as someone that wants to buy a house, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, I don't know what to do. So who wants to answer that question? We'll just start super basic and then we can dive deep.
Well, are you buying the house as an investor or to live in the house? You know, you're a first time home buyer. You and your wife are trying to settle
So
down.
what's the difference? Can I have a house and you treat it as an investment property as well? Like, that's where my mind goes. I'm sure that there are better ways to go about this, but
Absolutely, you can have up to 10 like that. In the state of Arkansas, as you know, other states may have different laws, um, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you could live in a home that you're also treating as an investment property. Uh, but you likely won't be able to get more than 10 mortgages. Uh, and then you'll start being taxed differently and need to reorganize yourself as an entity. Um, but yeah, uh, residential. If you're gonna, the first place that you're gonna need to start is finding a broker, and if you don't have a broker, then you need to be really savvy about where you're picking up your properties and how you're finding them. And um, so if you're just a first time investor looking to buy a rental property, you don't have a real estate license, you need to find a real estate broker. And I would say a lot of people don't do enough research in that aspect. Typically, if you're ready to invest in a market, you likely have a real estate agent or contacts in that market. But let's just say for this case that you've moved to a new town and you want an investment property there, I would do. I would place a lot of emphasis on the person that is going to represent you, understanding their background, their experience, their specialty, and their value to because you're paying them a hefty fee. And that actually has taken a recent change, a recent turn. The National Association of Realtors uh, have been under fire. They want to do away and are doing away with buyer agent commissions. So that really throws another wrench in that process if you're a first time home buyer or first time investor, either one. So um, but my area specifically, we have our own brokerage, so that we're experienced investors and been agents and brokers for over a decade in this market. So we service ourselves, and in fact, a piece of our revenue is it comes from the commission checks that we're getting on listings that we buy. But we don't hold the property. We do on average for about 17 days until we've sold it and financed it to the buyer for 30 years at 11%. And that's how all of my deals are. I'm not doing anything outside of that, just uh, buying and selling / financing to the buyer. So I'm basically a loan manager rather than a real estate guy. I get a loan and then I give a loan and I make a spread and collect a down payment. So that's my world.
So let's zoom out for a second. I love where this is going. This is the juice that I want to get to. But let's recalibrate and talk about someone that wants to buy a home, that wants to live in it. Let's say you're a first time home buyer. You need to get a real estate agent or a broker, or what are the loans that you can take out? federal, state, regional banks, like I don't know what they're called, and all the different vertices and steps that you need to take to get there, like title insurance and all this stuff. I'll kick it over to Joey because he raised his hand. Feel free to make your comment, and then you can answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. Your question can be answered with a quick Google search. It's really not the most like complicated thing, right? Like, so the majority of mortgages in this country are Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, right? Those are the FHA mortgages, which are kind of, I guess we could kind of call them government programs, I guess. And those are the type of mortgages where you only have to put 5% down, first time home buyer, blah 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 blah, right? Um, Really, when you're trying to buy your own house, like a single family home for you and your family, in the U.S. specifically, there's a lot of options. Are you a military family? If you're a military family, there's great opportunities for you to go to somebody like Navy Federal Credit Union, right? Are you um, are you a first time buyer or not a first time home buyer? Are you looking at a property that you want to live in for the next 20 to 30 years? Or is this a starter home that you're looking, then like maybe you're not quite married yet. You've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend and this is your starter home and you plan on being out of it in 3 to 5 years and parlaying hopefully the equity into something else, right? So to answer the question, I don't think there's a single answer to this question because there are so many different scenarios to consider as a home buyer. Ultimately, like what you should do, right? Should you go and put 20% down? Should you go and put 5% down? So I think, and where should you be getting these loans, right? Is it a traditional mortgage? Is it an FHA? And then you have to consider if you're not putting 20% down, you're paying PMI. So there's a lot to consider from a traditional home. PMI is your mortgage insurance. So if your mortgage has a higher than 80% loan to value, you have to pay mortgage insurance every month. It's the bank's way of saying like, if you do, because once you hit that, according to the bank, once you hit that 80% loan to value, they're confident that if you default on your mortgage, they can just take your house and make money off of it.
What does loan mean?
Say that again.
What does loan to value mean?
Yeah, so for easy numbers, if your house is worth $100,000 and you owe 80,000 or less, you do not have to pay mortgage insurance. If you owe $80,001, then you're going to have to pay mortgage insurance. So loan to value is what you owe divided by the assessed value of the home.
So if you can put down, let's say under 20%, you have to pay for PMI, right? So if you're a first-time home buyer and you only put down 5%, you have to pay for PMI. Is that correct?
Correct. You'd be paying PMI. But in most scenarios, the 15% in additional down payment is more than what based on America's current financial situation, right? If we say the average home in America, I think right now is like, last time I checked was somewhere around $400,000, right?
Median as
yeah, there you go. So if you were going to put down 20% on a $400,000 house, you have to put $80,000. The current financial situation in America, there's very few people that can put $80,000 down on a house right now.
So what do we do?
Well, if you qualify as a first-time home buyer and you go through, FHA and do like a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac type loan, you could put down 5%. So you're only putting down $20,000, and then you're going to pay that mortgage insurance, which is probably, again, depending on your what you plan to do in this home, whether it's a starter home that you plan on getting out of in 3 to 5 years, or if it's a home you plan on living in for the next 30 because you're going to raise your kids there, will depend on whether it makes more sense to just pay the mortgage insurance or come up with the other $60,000. Some people can't and they have no choice and they have to pay that mortgage insurance until either A, they pay enough of their mortgage down, or a combination of both where the value of the house goes from 400,000 to maybe $500,000, plus you've paid enough of your mortgage down that then you can appeal to your mortgage lender and say, hey, my house is now worth less. My house now has an 80% loan to value. Can you get rid of my PMI?
Are there situations where they wouldn't get rid of the PMI?
I've never, as long as this is just my experience. I can't speak for every state and every bank,
Right.
but
So that too, right? Like, do some states not have, for instance, first-time home buyers opportunities?
I don't believe so, because typically the first time, and somebody else's will, please chime in. I believe the first time homebuyer program is a national program. It's like the FHA program is a government program, so it's available to everybody. But from what I know, as long as your loan to value is 80% or below, you can have your PMI removed.
If you, the only other scenario there would be is if you took a home equity loan out, and that obviously is going to
But you wouldn't
disrupt.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Didi, but you need to have an 80% loan to value nowadays anyway to be able to take a HELOC.
True. Yeah, you're right. And that's right. So and the people that aren't able to get financing, in the front end, it's based off of your debt to income ratio, right? So that's what I wanted to jump in there real quick, Joey, and say is that a lot of people, especially this day and age, don't meet that 34% debt to income ratio, and that prevents them from getting traditional financing, and for those people, you either rent or you buy a house from a guy like me.
And so that's why we're heading into a renter's market at scale nowadays.
We're in a renter's market. We are in a renter's market.
This is getting into the juice, and then real talk, I'll kick it over to you. This is getting into the juice that I want to talk about, right? So a lot of folks that are in this room right now in the audience aren't here to talk about like, hey, let me get a fixed 30-year mortgage so that I can pay off the principal or the interest for the next like 20 years and then finally get around to paying off the principal. Like, how do I win? I want to win. And so this is like a HELOC. So for anyone that is in the crowd, like a HELOC is again, I don't know anything, right? So HELOCs are, you take a loan out against the equity that's in your home. Is that correct?
It stands for home equity line of credit. So you're asking the bank, hey, I've got 20% equity in my home, which is worth $100,000. I would like to borrow 50 of that to be able to renovate my house, purchase another property, whatever. So you're borrowing against the equity that exists in that current asset.
Okay.
And I will say real quick about the renters market.
Yes, please.
Like we're talking in I will preface everything. Me personally, I'm going to preface everything I say with we're speaking in generalities, because what we have to understand is that the rental or buying market in South Florida compared to Las Vegas, compared to Knoxville, Tennessee, compared to Houston, Texas, compared to, right? Like, so when I'm speaking about things, I'm speaking about like general kind of like what's going on. You have to understand that your market might not necessarily be on trend with other markets. So like, for example, in Las Vegas right now, it is much cheaper to rent a gorgeous home, like a 4 or 5 bedroom home. It is much cheaper to rent a home than it is to go buy one. Right. And I would argue South Florida is probably pretty similar right now with the way the housing costs are. So I would just preface with, for me, whatever I say, understand that I'm not talking about your market. I'm talking in general.
I think it can be really frustrating as someone that's a millennial hearing that you're locked into a rentals market. It as someone that's in their mid 30s now, closing in on his mid 30s, and even people younger than me, it's almost like there's a distaste around buying real estate right now because interest is so high, the way the economy is set up, like we are so far behind as a generation. How do I don't want to keep putting money into rent and pissing it into the wind, I guess is like the vibe that I feel from my colleagues. Like, how do we avoid that?
I've got a question just to throw out there.
Please.
We were, my partner and I, in 2016, we were thinking about buying about 30 homes and kind of doing kind of a portfolio of residential properties that we were going to lease out, try to grow it large, and eventually flip out to one of the big boys or whatever. We only got to about 3 or 4, and then we just said, fuck it. But one of the things we ran into was you're not going to be able to buy a home and get a 30-year amortization. If you have a great relationship with the bank, you might get 25, especially
what
then.
What does amortization mean?
Amortization is how long the loan takes to pay off. So if you get an FHA or any of these typical loans that you get when you're buying a home that you're living in, they'll put it on over a 30-year period, which means your payment is less. If you buy a piece of equipment, it's typically on a 5 or 7-year amortization, so you're paying that. Your payment is much greater because that's the lifespan if you borrow $400,000, your interest is 8%, and you've got to pay it off, including your 8%. In 7 years, your payment is going to be a lot more than if your amortization is over 30 years. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So depending on what the use is of the property, if it's an investment property or if it's your home, then you can get a longer term amortization, even from a commercial community bank or FHA. You could still get 30 years. And another thing, if you live in that home for 2 years or longer, when you sell that home, you don't have to pay taxes on your gain. I would like someone to maybe tell me if I'm wrong on that, but so if you think about it, you're not just, oh shit, I'm in this home, I'm really upset now, I've got to repair the roof, I've got to do all this. Well, if you think about it from a long-term perspective in the 1031, I guess real estate 101, I guess I was looking at that, I was 1031, but if you wanted a strategy, if you wanted to kind of, okay, how can I win in this market or whatever it may be, maybe you purchase a home that has, in your view or whatever analysis you do and whatever market you're in, that you feel like has upside, and whether that's you getting in there as a young individual who's willing to put some sweat equity in and do a few things to the house, or whatever you may feel like is going to help you increase the value of your home. Maybe you're buying it in an area that looks promising and over the next 5 or 6 years, or maybe you're in a market like Nashville or Charlotte or somewhere that you feel like it's going to be more valuable in the next 5 or 6 years, whatever your theory is. Potentially you could look at it and say, okay, maybe I'm able to build equity by counting on the asset value of my underlying home to increase. I'm in it for 4 or 5 years. I pay down some debt, but I'm also, hoping that it appreciates over that time period and it's worth more. You sell it. You don't pay income on the capital gains because it was your primary residence for over 2 years. And then when you sell it, theoretically, you could 1031 into an investment property. 1031 is where you exchange for like-kind property. Well, I guess if you're not paying property, or if you're not paying gains, there'd be no point to 1031 because that's the purpose of it. But I mean, that may be kind of a strategy that you could think about and try to work on how to build equity. Maybe you take that additional equity that additional value that you were able to, kind of foresee, and you lived in that home for 2 years. You don't have to pay taxes on your gain. You sell the house, you make $120,000 or whatever it may be, and then you can put that as a down payment into a house and have less of a mortgage. Who knows what rates are at that time, but you're putting it back into a primary residence that you're living in on a 30-year mortgage, and maybe you're able to work it that way. I don't know. But I think that everyone should understand that, and someone jump in if I'm wrong on this, but I've done it. But if you live in a home for 2 years and over 2 years, you sell it, you don't have to pay capital gains on that.
Right. Yeah, because it's your primary dwelling, something like that. Like I'm writing down questions as you guys speak. I'm going to kick it over to Real Talk. He's been patiently waiting, and then we'll go over to Travis.
Yeah, I mean, so we talked about a lot of stuff, and I think, let's just try to keep it to the 101 basics aspect. I think if you're looking to buy in this market or in general, you need to understand your why, right? And this is something that Joey and his partner kind of expanded on really well, of like, am I looking at this for long term? Am I looking at this for, appreciation of the home value? Is this a starter home? Am I trying to house hack? And, for anybody who's listening, house hacking is effectively you buy your primary residence for yourself and you either rent the additional rooms out, or if you buy a duplex or triplex, you rent the other units out. That's, what everybody kind of refers to as house hacking. It's in an effort to kind of reduce your monthly payment through basically renting out other units for people to live in. So I think figuring out your why is really, really important in terms of why you're of becoming a homeowner. It's going to remove a lot of questions that are up in the air for you and help narrow down your range of decision making and moving forward in the purchasing process. Additionally to that, FHA is kind of like the standard route. Everybody's kind of talking about affordability and, $80,000 is a lot to put down on a payment for a home if you're putting down 20% on that $400,000 home. But you don't have to do that. Yes, there's the 3.5%, but there's also, there's a lot of government programs in place to help you purchase homes. So, you can look into the USDA home loan program where, if you're okay with it, you can go and move to a more rural area that you're in and get a loan through the Department of Agriculture, where you could even wrap your kind of closing costs into the loan. So you could get no money down. There's VA loans that you can take out if you're ex-military. And then, something that's very, very, very commonly overlooked are just state-funded first-time buyer grants. I live in North Carolina, and I've spoken to multiple people who have utilized this program. Yeah, there's restrictions on, household income and things of that nature, but, you can get a grant from the state that can give you I think in North Carolina, it's up to $30,000 to assist you for a down payment on a home. So, I kind of urge you all to look into your state programs, any kind of federal programs that help with first-time home buyers, and things of that nature.
Joey's got some hot take to add in here. Go ahead, Joey, and then we'll go back to you, Real Talk.
Oh, no, I just want to say real quick, I agree with that last point that he made, which was there are lots of local, state, and national programs. But I will say that a lot of the programs that he mentioned are income restrictive. So, for example, I wanted to buy a piece of land in Central Florida that was zoned for agriculture because I want to farm. I want lots of kids. We want animals. We want to farm. I don't qualify for a USDA loan because I make too much money. So there are, and it's, I think the USDA loan cutoff is 50 or 60,000. If you make more than 50 or 60,000, you can't get a USD. And the number might have changed because I'm sure it moves with, the cost of living and blah, 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 whatever. But I couldn't get one because of that. So what I would say is there are a lot of awesome programs out there, but the majority of the programs exist for people that are quote unquote lower middle class or even lower income. There's very few programs that exist if you make more than the average American household income. There might be some state programs like he mentioned, but a lot of the national programs, they don't exist if you make more than $50,000 a year.
So, yeah, okay. So there's some restrictions there. They exist, but I mean, they're clearly there for folks that don't have, it's if you're making under the average income, call it, 72, 60, 50. I mean, these are all middle of the ground numbers for Americans nowadays. But
the part that's crazy with the USDA one is you would think that regardless, so the USDA loan isn't even that great. It's only a point or two below what prime is. So it's not even it's this substantial discount.
What's
and
prime?
You would think prime is the current, whatever the current mortgage rate, interest rate is. So if you go out and get a HELOC, they'll give you prime +2, right? So they say prime because the number always moves. But like with the USDA loan, you would think that they would want to give more of those out because they would want more people developing land. So like it was mind-boggling to me when I applied for it and they were like, "Oh no, you can't make more than this much money." I'm like, "Yeah, but like I want to develop land. Well, who cares that I make 150 instead and not like it's not like I'm a millionaire coming to you. Like I make 150. I want to develop land and have agriculture." Like so anyways, I just thought that was kind of crazy
So
that
before we go, not to go down this rabbit hole, but I just Googled it really quick. USDA loan income limits and eligibility in 2024 for 1 to 4 member households is $110,000. So if you make under $110,000 in 2024, you are eligible for a USDA loan on a ranch property like Joey's talking about. Travis, let me kick it over to you.
Thanks. Yeah, great points, Joey. Real talk. I totally agree. I mean, real estate's local. I think a great app. I mean, people may have seen Nick Gurley on YouTube. You know, he's a bit more doom and gloom about the housing market in the U.S., but he has an app called Reventure. It's REVEN.
I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, he's good. But reventure.app, and there is a free version where you can actually look in your local area and see specifically. He does the best, I'd say, like as in like a third party, just kind of aggregating data. But you know, if you just want to look and see, because as Joey mentioned, I mean, real estate's local. I mean, you know, there's no doubt. You know, we've all made these points. You know, my personal opinion, aside from just the real estate 101, is you know we're certainly at a frothy point in the market, but with inflation still rearing and a lot of headwinds there, and I don't necessarily think they're going to go away. I do think hard assets are still a very solid play, but again, it's looking at your why, as you guys have already said, and also specifically, does your market is your market conducive to buying? You know, does it fit your why? Because even some of these markets just don't make sense, and maybe it makes more sense to rent for the time being. And I think the other thing, again, you know, because this is like a Web 2, Web 3 space. I know we're keeping it 101, but you know that is where Web 3 comes in with fractionalization and being able to look at say, hey, look, maybe I live in Miami. Buying there is not, you know, a great option right now, but maybe there's another part of the country or world where you can own a piece of real estate through a fractional side, and you can obviously hedge against the, you know, hedge and lean into the upside of a property investment until maybe your local market where you're raising a family, you know, comes back to you. So those are just a couple points that I have there. I think is just bringing those together.
Go ahead, Joey. And I thanks, Travis. I want to also give you guys the spotlight. So let's have Joey take his make his point, and then let's pivot to talking about commercial. Because, and I'm also, I know we said we have about an hour, but like, I'm just going to move the goalpost to like 15, 20 minutes after, and then we'll like talk about next steps together. Because this is clearly not ending in the next few minutes. Joey, go ahead.
I wanted to echo what Travis said. Like I'm super bullish on the idea of getting real estate on the blockchain and being able to fractionalize ownership. It will give people access that they've never had before to being able to invest in real estate. Like the idea that a third of the population is bankless, and I mean, with how do you expect to invest in real estate when you're bankless, right? But if we can get real estate on the blockchain, it opens up an incredible amount of liquidity, both for investors and for institutions. And I'm not a big institution fan, which is why I'm here in Web3. But the reality is they're never going to go away. The other thing I will say too, and I'm sure some of the other people here can speak to it, the biggest hurdle we have to overcome is technology. I mean, I know personally there are still counties that don't take DocuSigns. They want you to wet signature something and like bring it in, you know? So the idea of getting these systems to communicate with blockchain technology is probably our biggest adoption hurdle, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, that's insane. There's so many jokes that I have about that, you know, call it communism, but real talk, go ahead.
Yeah, I just I definitely share that sentiment, and I think we've spoken about this on a different space as well. I mean, like I live in the capital of North Carolina, And, like I said, I'm in foreclosures. When I was in Denver, everything related to foreclosures was on Web2. Like I can just go online and get a list of every single property that's in foreclosure, get all the information about the homeowners, on the mortgage. I could look up, go on the clerk and recorder and look up the titles and, if there's any liens on the properties and things of that nature. And I end up moving here, trying to do the same thing. And I walk into the county courthouse and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to find where your foreclosures are. I couldn't find anything online, blah, blah, blah. And the lady just goes and points at the wall where there's just, I would say like a 4 foot by 4 foot whiteboard with a bunch of court case numbers on it. And then she's like, yeah, those are all the houses that are in foreclosure. Pick one out, and then you can go and look up the filing in that in these shelves that they had with all the court cases on them. And I'm going through this experience, and I'm like, the hurdle for them to go from where they're at now to Web3 is so large that I just don't really see it happening anytime in the foreseeable future because they're not even uploading their information online. So for me, when I look at real estate in the Web3 space, especially when it comes to how intertwined the government is when it comes to ownership in terms of titles, property taxes, things of that nature, is how do we convince them that this is a more efficient way of handling paperwork and titles and things of that nature than where they're currently at? And I think that's going to be a really big hurdle to get over in the near future.
Dude, I 100% agree. There's so much bureaucracy. There's real estate agents, there's title companies, there's insurance. There's so many hoops you have to go through just dealing with the local municipalities. There's so much work we have to do. There's so much work we have to do. And I can't help but bring the Forge into this because we are collateralizing debt on chain. And this is the one step that we can do that's tangible, that's in our hands, that we can take action on. Granted, tokenizing debt is just one small, thing of the a slice of the pie, or one small. You guys know what I mean. And so it's just going to be a matter of
One
time.
small piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, one small piece of the puzzle. And we're all eating out of the same pie. Travis, what's going on? What's your take?
I share a pretty similar sentiment. I think where, like you mentioned with the Forge, I think where the iteration lives now is, the county governments, the state governments, federal government, all that bureaucracy, that stuff is going to take a while. But entrepreneurs and people that are going to be able to essentially, lack of a better word, broker these opportunities between Web 2 and Web 3, you still can bring real estate on chain. And we're seeing people do that, obviously. And even in the United States, you have the Wyoming DAO, which is a good example where you can own real property as a collective, and you're still going to have the principles of that corporation are still going to have some personal liability based on some analysis that I've seen. But what happens is, and again, this is keeping it real estate 101, is you can have entrepreneurs and investors and groups that kind of take this step and are the pioneering side. But if you're looking just to get exposure, these folks are going to be putting these things online to fractionalize, and that's where I think where there's an opportunity where, just like you're bringing up with Real Talk, if you have a foreclosure portfolio that now is accessible through a fractionalization opportunity, all your hard work and all the whiteboards and all the all the files that you're navigating through, somebody that's in the country of Georgia, not the state of Georgia even, could invest in your hard work and foreclosure portfolio, where they're going to see an upside, because obviously maybe North Carolina, the housing market is quite positive right now. So, but obviously there's still foreclosures and still deals where you're finding those and finding ways to kind of get exposure. And I think that's where I think all of us are trying to get at is real estate is still, everyone here is still bullish on it. It's just a matter of where you live, what your goals are, and how you can get exposure to these opportunities.
Guys, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to pivot into commercial right now. If you just joined us, retweet the space. Travis, you got me motivated. I'm going to reach out to the Reventure app guy and try to get that MFR on our space 2 weeks from now, because we're going to be talking about real estate trends, macro trends. And I'm super excited about it because, again, I'm a millennial trying to settle down, start a family somewhere in Arkansas, maybe. And I don't know WTF, like what the forge is going on. And should I wait? Should I buy now? Should I like try to do the burr, but I don't want to do the burr and then end up being, out in the cold because
I'm sorry, what's the burr?
Oh, the burr, the buy, renovate, rent, redo model. Sorry, real estate 101. So I'm not the guy supposed to be talking about that. But anyway, burr is the method of real estate investing. Woo! All right, commercial. We have Travis, Dominic. You guys are experts in commercial, and I think a little bit of DD King's homies. James maybe ? But
James
Yes,
is definitely an
all
expert.
commercial.
like for the next 10-15 minutes, let's dive into commercial. For personally me, like what the forge is going on over there. Is it about to collapse? Like, are homeless people moving into our office spaces in New York City? Like, tell us like how you guys got into it and what verticals exactly you worked. Dominic, you've been sitting there quietly. I'm going to be the teacher that chooses you in the middle of the class to come up to the chalkboard and draw the next equation out. I hope you don't have a boner and don't get embarrassed, but please tell us about your experience.
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, I worked for a grocery retailer, and our strategy there was buying distressed properties with big box empty spaces, and maybe another 50 to 100,000 square feet of additional space where we could then fill with other tenants, and we would put our stores in there. They were about 50,000 square feet, and then once those were built out and operating, you would just get a ton of tenants coming in there. So it worked out well for the company that I worked with, even during the recession, because they were able to draw so much traffic. And what was happening during the recession was people were looking for high traffic areas. They were very picky. So a lot of the smaller spaces might have been hurting. These spaces with grocery anchored tenants were thriving. And that's kind of sort of where we came in and saw the opportunity. That helped attract national tenants and subways and different kind of tenants like that. One of the things we learned though was, with all of the online becoming big back when we were doing this, is that you needed service tenants in there and restaurants and businesses that could not be overtaken by online. So that was one of the things that we kind of did well when we were doing that. I'm trying to think. So commercial is a little bit more difficult and not as straightforward as buying, a home or even multifamily properties. Typically, the negotiation process is a little more drawn out. You're dealing with like letter of intents and working through those with attorneys even prior to nailing anything down and going to a contract. So you could be talking weeks to months of negotiations on a variety of terms with the letter of intent. Once you get the letter of intent nailed down, you're at contract phase with the purchase contract, and you're doing your due diligence. The due diligence is also a little bit more drawn out. There's environmental studies that you're working through. There are appraisals that you're working through. Obviously, financing, which is also a little more difficult when you're dealing with large properties. But the benefits of it are just that there's potential for huge equity gains, like we saw with taking distressed properties and then backfilling them, and sometimes we would double and triple the property value overnight with that.
What?
Yeah. There's a shopping center that we bought.
You're not talking about shit coins, right?
No, this is real stuff.
This is RL. We're not talking about magic internet money as I'm watching my my shitcoin pump right now.
No, I mean a little bit more difficult than making money overnight with a shitcoin, but definitely worthwhile.
Yeah,
this is something that's years in the making. So
yeah, sounds really really fun and dopamine, inducing. Really quick, because I don't want to rug your comment, but James and Joey are raising their hands, and I want them to have a moment here.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think that, when you first switched it over to commercial, you asked whether or not commercial is going to collapse. I think 100% the answer is no. I think what we've seen a lot of over the last few years are we got really used to very, very low, abnormally low interest rates. I mean, I got used to it. I loved it. I loved being able to do commercial deals at,
James,
yes.
can you give us some perspective here? Like, wasn't it in the 70s and 80s that the typical interest rate on a home was
18%.
13 or 15% or whatever, in the double digits?
Absolutely. It was as high as 18%. Maybe even a little higher than that. And in the early 80s and in the mid 80s, I think of a local developer here that develops the largest, this sounds kind of funny, but the largest office tower in Arkansas. He finished it in 1986. Interest rates were over 8% at that point in time. When I first got in the business, interest rates were going between 6 and 7%. On average, over the last 20 plus years, if you look at it, average interest rates are going to be over 8%. Deals can be done, regardless of where that stands. It's just a matter of how creative you can get. Right now I see these interest rates coming back into the 6 to 7% mark, and we can make our real estate deals work within that fairly well, and possibly even get back to a conventional financing where we're looking at 80% loan to cost. Right now with interest rates around that 8% mark, a little bit over 8.25%. We just got quoted 7.5%, which is great on something. But right now, we're looking in order to make our numbers work, and we really focus a lot on single tenant, triple net assets like Starbucks or Circle K's or tunnel car washes, those kind of things. With credit tenants, we're looking at 60% loan to cost. So we're coming up, with 40% equity, either through ourselves or through investors. Whereas 2 years ago, interest rates are at 4.25%, and we're doing 85% loan to cost. We can make those kind of deals home all day. You've got what we typically do is a lot of short-term dispositions. So we'll go through, we'll handle all of the financing, handle the development itself, and then hopefully before construction is complete or before the store opens, we'll already have it under contract and close shortly thereafter. So we're dependent on that spread between what we're able to develop the property for. Say we're developing it at 7.5% of total construction cost or total development cost, and then we're able to sell it at a 5.5 cap or a 5 cap, and that's a capitalization rate which measured risk. I think most people on the call will know what that is, and we'll take that spread. Now the spreads have gotten a little smaller, but we've been very lucky in that our clients have to expand. So they know that the developers that are working with them, that we have to make money. So their rental rates have come up commensurate with interest rates as well as construction costs. And construction costs were a killer. We had construction costs go up right after COVID, and then we have interest rates go up. I mean, it's a very difficult situation, but our margins are smaller. But again, we just have to do a little bit more volume, and I feel confident that can get done in a 8 to 9% interest rate climate and a 7 to 8% interest rate climate. I'm really looking forward to it being done in a 6 to 7% interest rate climate, and that's really more what a historical norm is than what we saw at 3.75, 4%, and 4.25%.
I love that you are what I'm drawing from everything that you're saying. First of all, if it's a dream to think about where you're at right now, from my perspective. I hope that I get there someday. Scale, volume, it's very clear to me that you guys have a model and you keep showing up every day and you're forging ahead, whether the market's up or down or sideways. Like you're sticking to your guns, which I think is really commendable. So
We have to.
yeah, otherwise, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Um, start making yourself a cardboard box on the corner there to
That's
sleep in. But
exactly right. That's exactly right.
I'll kick it over to Joey and then Dominic. I want to come back to you to tell us about the overnight success that you had. That really, we all know, obviously, it was not an overnight success. But let's finish that story up. Joey, what's up?
Real quick, I think the craziest part about commercial and even land in general is that you can, like they were saying, like literally how the value went up overnight. Like you can buy land and knock down some trees in your little cat crawler or whatever, and now all of a sudden your land is worth 2 times what it was worth when you bought it, right? Like it, the same with like commercial. Like you can I think the issue with commercial is there's not a lot of people out there that can afford to buy commercial. So if you can get into a commercial property and you can just hold for a little bit, or if the market just turns, I mean, we're talking about a lot of money when we're talking about commercial and land. For the most part, we're talking like millions and tens of millions. But if you know how to raise private money and you're connected, there's a lot of opportunity just on a quick flip without even having to do a lot of work.
Yeah, so I hear wholesaling when I hear that. I hear like the quick fix and flips on distressed properties when I hear that. There are ways to move. You just need the capital resources, right? Doc always says, our founder, like, this is a very capital intensive business. It's not that there aren't enough deals. It's just that there's not enough money. And like you need to go and raise. And so that is like a very interesting problem to consistently be brushing up against, which is why we're
Yeah.
just Forge.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it like this, very few people could afford 200 acres of land. But if you could afford 200 acres of land and then divide it up into 10, 20 acre plots, people can afford a 20 acre plot. So if you have the money to buy the 20 acres or the ability to put up the money or raise the money, whatever it is, and then you start selling them in 20 acre lots, what did you do? You did nothing but put up the money and take the risk, because now somebody can actually afford 20 acres or 10 acres, whatever it is. And you did nothing to the land. You're literally just selling them a land in an affordable size.
So what Joey is saying is that if there are any drug dealers out there that are kingpins and they're looking to bring on new people, you just got to break down your quantity here and then get some minions, and they all take on the risk as well, and everyone's happy. Real talk. That's a joke, by the way. I don't encourage drug dealing. Real talk. What's up?
Just usage.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with everything that's being said. I mean, that is like very verbatim cookie cutter replication of what's going on in the Raleigh market. I mean, if you go on, Zillow right now, you'll see hundreds of pinpoints of just, commercial development where, it's like they kind of built a suit for you. So it's literally just like people are, buying that 100 acres, 50 acres, chopping all the trees down, and then they go and list the property up for sale where, it's just, right now it's just land, and they give you a range of options as to like what type of house that you want them to build, and then they'll go and build it for you. So you'll literally be living in a subdivision while houses are being built, but, they're selling for, I would say like 20% off market rates compared to other areas in town, just because, the buyer of the land got such a sweet deal on it. So, I mean, it's literally what I'm trying to get into here, because the fix and flip market is so tight, and it seems like everybody is just turning into a wannabe developer, and I'm totally jumping on that bandwagon.
That's awesome. Travis, I'm going to kick it over to you. Then Dominic. Then we're going to do some closing talks because I literally have a call in 11 minutes. What's up, Travis?
Yeah, real quick. I think one thing we forgot to cover, or just neglected to cover overall, is just owner financing. I know this is not something that's like rocket science, but overall, I mean, even in the residential market, depending on the market, about 30% of homes are paid for. So in a rising interest rate market, in a difficult market, some of those owner financing deals are more applicable. Obviously, for some of the things that strip malls and some of those kind of things, owner financing is probably not not in the cards. But for commercial, same thing applies. I mean, they're definitely, when you're working with the right team to find these properties, you can identify those owner those properties that are paid for, that might have owner financing available, even off market. So just something I wanted to point out. I think it's important, especially in the market conditions we're in right now.
Yes, and that drives the point that Doc always mentions recently, is that we're in a portion of the market cycle right now where private money is better than bank money. And I think you're really like hitting the nail on the head there, Travis. Dominic, can you please tell us about your overnight success? That obviously overnight success, but I really want to end that with you and put a button and a bow on the commercial real estate portion of this segment. So please take it away.
Yeah, so I guess the story is a story of how you can unlock value by adding value to the spaces that you purchase. And this is an extreme example, but this is kind of how I think when I do my investing. So we had purchased a property that was about 130,000 square foot. It was split up into two pieces. One side had a space where we could put our grocery store and had some small space for other tenants. The other side had a space that was previously occupied by Venture. I don't know if anyone remembers or knows what that is anymore, but it used to be a big box, like general type store that had just vacated. And with that vacating, they took a few other tenants down with them. So the center was about 20% occupied when we purchased it. We put our store in there, so we had to finance the store on top of the purchase price. But we bought the shopping center for a little over $4 million, I believe, and put the store in. And as we put the store in, we started, marketing out there that the grocery store was coming. This is how much foot traffic we have generally, and then started to fill up the space. Once the space was filled up, we basically had the option to sell either the entire thing, which was separately pinned. So PIN meaning the property index number, tax number for both sides of the shopping center were separated. And so we decided to just list one side and see how we did with that. So we listed it for like $11 million and immediately got it under contract within like a 30-day period.
Jesus.
And ended up closing on that. Yeah. So a $4 million property that we paid for both sides, we ended up splitting only half of it out and sold it for $11 million. Not overnight. It was it took us about a year to do the build outs and get it leased. And then about a year later, we sold it. But in real estate terms, I consider that overnight because I'm more of a long-term investor.
That's insane. And so just like quick, 2 minutes max, talking about taxes earlier, what are the tax implications on a move like that, on a play like that? Do you then roll that money over into another deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where the 1031 exchange comes in, and it's more prevalent with larger deals like this than it is with small residential stuff. But yeah, we ended up purchasing a large shopping center that was about another 130,000 square foot. Kind of rinse and repeat, did the same things. It wasn't as successful as this, but it was one of our most successful retail stores.
Well, talk about it.
So it was still worthwhile.
It's boost and like proof of concept. Like I'm so scared to dip my toe into real estate, but I feel like if you get a win like that, it's like, you're ready to take on more deals and keep learning.
Yep. And unfortunately, it wasn't me myself that got that deal. It was the company I worked with, so I didn't get the financial benefit of it. But yeah, I mean, for them, they made a ton of money over a period of 10 years doing this, and at the same time, they were growing their retail chain.
Guys,
but I mean, just looking at where you can add value in anything is where you unlock.
Really good take there, Dominic, and definitely like. It sounds like you are looking to create impact wherever you invest now after going through those experiences.
Yeah. So I'm using that same thought process when I'm doing my multifamily. I'm not looking to buy, high-end units that are fully remodeled. I'm looking to buy stuff that I think I can add value through either remodeling or maybe they have excessive vacancies that I can fill up. One of the more recent things we started doing with our multifamily actually is Section 8, which has turned out pretty well in Arizona because they also pay a bonus when you sign a new lease. So they give you a $2,000 bonus per lease. And they seem to be paying like 30% higher rents than I was getting before. So
Look out, guys. The old slumlord vertical hitting you. Keep your eyes open for that. It's a risk, but if you do it, the juice might be worth the squeeze. Dom, I love those takes. It's trippy to think about how you have to think about parking lot size and getting stores in versus people and families. I have never even explored that avenue of real estate, to be completely honest, but I appreciate you teaching us and giving us your experience. I'm wrapping this space up. I have a call in 4 minutes. I want everyone in here to give all of our speakers a follow. Hit them up in the DMs if you want to do business with them, get to know them more. A lot of these guys are available for one-on-one calls if it's something that you want to do. I am we are hosting, The Forge is hosting another space next week. We're going to be talking about family offices versus institutions. So if you guys, any of the speakers, have anyone that you feel would make a good fit for that topic, please shoot me a DM either at the Forge account or at my Crypto Matt K account. It's somewhere in the crowd. I lost my blue check mark, so it's just going to be down there, like the check markless loser that it is. But shoot the Forge a DM. I have a few folks, but I would love to have a panel like we had today. That was a fucking powerful panel. 2 weeks from now, I also will follow up with all you guys in the DMs. We're going to do another topic around real estate macro trends. And I, not only want to extend the invitation to you guys now, but I'll follow up with you in the DMs if you guys want to talk about macro real estate trends. Like the guy from Reventure app, Travis, I'm 110% going to reach out to him. A lot of the charts that I post are from YouTube videos that he posts, and I get a lot of my data from him. So we'll be talking about why mortgages are at the lowest, why mortgage applications are at the lowest rate, they're at the lowest amount that they've been since 1995. Why certain localized, so we'll also really dissect the localized market kind of component that we were talking about today. Yes, real estate is crazy and it's on the up and up at large, but there are very localized markets like Florida, like Texas, like Tennessee, that are experiencing a lot of downturn right now. And it may not be a good idea to invest or, yes, it's turning into a buyer's market, but it is certainly undergoing some severe price cuts right now. We'll talk about why that's happening. A lot to cover. So again, thank you so much, guys, for coming up here. I'll go around and you guys can say your goodbyes. And let's just kick it off with Dominic. Thank you for wrapping up the space with us.
Yeah, thank you guys for giving us the opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Forge can do in this space. Exciting.
For sure. Real talk.
Yo, thanks for having me on. It was awesome talking to everybody and hearing everybody's perspective. Seems like a very well-educated group of guys. I'm definitely going to be giving you all a follow.
Oh, yeah. Look, Travis, let's kick it over to you.
Likewise, lots of alpha. Really enjoyed the conversations, guys.
Fuck yeah. Alpha is the way. James.
Yes, thank y'all very much. I appreciate being on. This is my first time to do anything like this, so thank y'all very much.
James, I seriously look forward to having you back on. My guys from Arkansas, DD King, let's kick it over to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I look forward to learning more about how the Forge is going to change this space because, today I consider bringing my brother and James on as really onboarding them to Web3. I doubt that will be their last conversation they have, and I'm confident the more that they do have, they'll understand why we're all here.
Hell yeah. Joey, let's kick it over to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great conversation. I really enjoyed it. I would say that this is like a pimple on the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what we talked about in real estate, or like the pimple on the ass of an elephant, I think is what people like to say. Um, I'm really excited about getting RWAs on the blockchain. What the Forge is doing. Check out what we're doing at the Colony. There's tons of other companies out there. Kettle Finance is doing things with watches on Blast. Like, if you're into RWAs, there's a lot of amazing builders right now that are trying to push that narrative forward. So I'm really excited. Last thing I will say too, last piece of advice is, if you want to get into real estate investing, I would highly suggest looking into any type of mentoring or coaching. It's a very lucrative industry, but it's also really easy to lose a lot of money. So I would caution you, you can try to go at it alone, but you're probably better off finding a mentor or a coach that can help you along the way.
And that's the thing that freaks me out. I can go and buy NFTs just like I can a house, but as soon as I put that money down, I'm fucking stuck with it. And you guys better be careful with where you put your money in real estate. Just like we all ape into NFTs, you just got to be careful. Speaking of NFTs, the Forge NFTs are on sale on Magic Eden. Click on our bio and you'll be able to find the secondary marketplace link. I encourage anyone that is new to hop on board with us. Join the community. As you can see, we're very friendly and very enthusiastic about this vertical that we're building in. I'll kick it over to NPM Labs, and I will also preface that I will look to submit an application or a request to management to see if we can do giveaways during this space. Maybe get some more NFT holders breeding out of these spaces as we move into the next month here with the planned spaces that we have. So NPM Labs, my co-host, my brother, what is your final thoughts here?
You're making a really good point, like breaking out of the echo chamber. I want to give a shout out to Diddy King. What you're doing here, bringing your guys like from IRL, James, it's such a pleasure to have you here on your first space. It's our honor really to co-host this here. What Diddy King is doing is what we're planning to do constantly and on scale with these spaces here. So please, guys, if you have a LinkedIn account, follow the Forge and follow NPM Labs. We will continue to funnel people from IRL, Web2, coming from LinkedIn over to these spaces here. So the goal is in the future that we will have more profile pictures, just like James, not ready, not yet set up, but joining these discussions here and understanding what we are up to here. And this will be a very much curated initiative from the Forge and from NPM Labs, our approach to first bridging and then educating around all of these topics. And it was such a pleasure to listen to all of you, this loads of education and insights on a really relevant topic. Thank you so much, guys. And yeah, drop a follow, LinkedIn account, The Forge and NPM Labs, and keep on bringing your IRL friends. This is what it's all about. Thank you so much, guys.
Hell yeah. With that being said, we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. I'll follow up with you guys in the DMs. Joey, I have some ideas I want to share with you about some topics for the future.
I'll see you tomorrow on that Mario Spaces as well.
Fucking legendary, dude. All right, sick. I'm pumped. I'm excited for that. I can't believe I'm talking on a Mario Space tomorrow. What a fucking trip. Take care of yourselves, everyone. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and keep clanging on. Peace.